I've learned some great tips from my mum over the years on how to find some fabulous vintage bargains, where to go. Sometimes it's jumble sales, sometimes vintage fairs, sometimes it's charity shops. But I really think that I can translate these into helping every woman to find some piece that she will wear and will become a part of her wardrobe. And then maybe she can pass it on to the next generation. I was lucky enough to have the best dressing up box in the world, which was basically my mother's wardrobe, most of which is here now. This was Ossie Clark for Bradley, which was the diffusion line, but it's a Celia Birtwell print.
It's tiny, but it does sort of remind you of the history of yourself when you're a teenager and then you pass it on to your teenage daughter.
It's one of my favourite pieces of clothing because this is crochet that Mum had when she was 14.
I look at this with real fondness, and Estelle and I have been swapping it backwards and forwards.
I actually think I have a knack for finding some amazing pieces, whatever your size. I mean, I've gone with my mum looking at vintage fairs and have found some amazing items. Got this skirt for £1 whilst I was a student on Portobello Market. I was with my friend Geeta. I think we fought over it. It didn't rip, another sign of its great quality. And leather just ages beautifully. It's actually much, much better with age. I think it's better to get a vintage leather piece than it is to get a new piece. This is probably 80s, it's a more modern piece of vintage. But so now, this was £3 and I just happened to be driving past with my mum, and this is my well-trained eyes, but I can help you train yours. And I just saw it, I was like, Mum, I'm just going to run in and grab that dress. Is it blue and green? Should never be seen. You actually can do a proper twirl with this one as well.
Yeah.
Just these lovely buttons. I think that's what really sets vintage apart, is these kind of tiny little details where you just look at something and go, oh, that's been loved. So these are Alexander McQueen shoes. Look at that fabulous detail on the front, very space age. And it's got the inbuilt platform and ridiculously high heels, so for special occasions. Beautifully made in Italy. These shoes are just divine and they're an investment. We've got some vintage Chanel. These are slightly worn and loved, but I found these in a charity shop. And I just love the denim because this just makes these really contemporary and funky, even though I think they were actually an 80s piece. You can take these to a great cobbler, they can put a great new heel on them, bring them back to life. Go in a charity shop, just go straight to the accessories drawer and you can just get some amazingly cute little pieces that can just add a little bit of zing to your outfit. I mean, just look at that. Look at these little concertina folds here. I mean, it's just such a divine item. Beautiful. Tiny little clasp. Open it up. Look at that, and the lovely little silk made in England. I wonder how many parties this has been to, how much fun it's had. But it's dying to tell me. So, you know, you can just have a little bit of vintage in your life. My mission is to go into England's wardrobes. This is all around the country. Women and their mothers keep some items from their past.
You know, when she brought her baby back from the hospital, she was wearing that jacket. We'll tell stories, and through clothing, there is always at least one piece we can say, oh, I remember when your grandmother bought me this.
Yeah. The dress that Marilyn Monroe, the infamous, probably one of the most famous, iconic items in fashion, the dress that she wore in the famous subway scene where the skirt gets lifted by the draft from the subway, sold for 2.8 million. This is just an item of cloth and clothing. These shoes I found on eBay, and they are from the 1920s or 30s. And they're rumoured to have belonged to Betty Davis. For me, they just sum up the epitome of what's fabulous about vintage, about the history, the heritage, the glamour. I mean, even Jimmy Choo doesn't make shoes as fabulous as this.